Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.
The storm doesn't ask. It takes. It tests. It pushes everything to its limit. Some things are built different. Some things are built to last. Tested by the elements, proven by time, engineered for whatever comes next. Summertown Metals. Strength in every storm. Building dreams that last.
Hi, I'm Jeff Overton, pastor of Mars Hill Baptist Church. And it's that time of year again where the hallways of the schools come alive with life. We love hearing the children go back, their laughter, their squeals, the excitement. And we want you to know at Mars Hill Baptist Church, we're praying for you as you start back to school. Whether you're in the kindergarten and starting your very first day, or whether this is your senior year, it's the last time you're going to walk the halls of that high school. We want you to know we're praying for you and we're supporting you. We're praying you have a great, productive year, a safe year, and when you come to the end of this school year, you look back and say, what a great year it's been. I also like to encourage you. We have a great children and student ministries at Mars Hill Baptist Church, and we'd love to come alongside you and help you grow in that area of your life as well. So as you begin this school year, begin knowing we're behind you, we support you, and we love you. God bless you. Have a great school year.
Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.
And happy Friday, everybody. Welcome into this Friday edition of the SEC Tailgate here on the X Sports Network. Michael Marks alongside my partner Hayden Burks, and we got a lot to talk about, Hayden, so we'll just jump right in. We'll start out in California, where Lady Vols soccer picked up another big win late Wednesday night as the newly 6th-ranked team in the nation went out west to take on number 4 UCLA, and a school we've actually built a little rivalry with across a lot of sports. We played them in basketball. Mm-hmm. We played them in softball in Omaha or in Oklahoma City. Now playing them in women's soccer. We traded our quarterbacks. I mean, Tennessee and UCLA have a lot more in common now.
So you said Tennessee's now new. They went from
unranked to number 6.
Wow.
Yeah, they started off the season 2-0, obviously, taking down number 1 North Carolina last week and Eastern Kentucky 9-0. They went out to California and beat UCLA 1-0, despite being outshot 17-1.
Is UCLA ranked?
Number 4.
Number 4. Oh, wow. So 2 top 5 wins like that. So for Tennessee, obviously, that's huge for women's soccer. And, you know, from a standpoint, women's soccer or just, you know, those other sports, they don't get credit like they do. You know, because when you look at women's soccer, you don't really think of, you know, just strong soccer players. Yep. I know at the NAI level, women's soccer and men's soccer is a big deal.
A big deal, yeah.
But, you know, at the D1 level, D2, D3, anything else like that, you know, it's kind of overlooked compared to football, basketball, baseball, and so on and so forth. But, you know, that's big time for them. And, you know, just another reason for fans to, you know, for Tennessee fans to get involved and like that. So hopefully, you know, with that sport, women's soccer, obviously I enjoyed watching it. I watched it more, you know, over at UT Southern with the program they have, the spectacular program they have. They won the national championship my sophomore year in 2021. So, you know, that's just going to grow the sport. Hopefully, you know, like I said, Tennessee fans will get involved with it more and make it one of those places where Tennessee is a premier spot when it comes to women's soccer as well.
Yeah, obviously. Tennessee's women's soccer program hasn't had much success over the past couple of years, but you go back to my freshman year, 2021, where they actually won the SEC tournament, and then head coach Brian Penske went and went down to Florida State. But when you think women's soccer in the college game at the Division I level, 2 conferences come to your mind, and that's the Pac-12, or what used to be the Pac-12. Most of those teams have joined into the other 2 best conferences, the ACC and the Big Ten.
Yep.
And Tennessee went and took down the best team in the ACC and then the best team in the Pac-12 or Big Ten, whatever you want to call it now. So, I mean, they've proved that they want to compete with the big dogs, and Shea O'Rourke scoring her 4th goal of the season. Lady Vols 2 top 5 wins at the early part of this season, and they have they stayed out in California, and they have a game Saturday against LMU. That game should be on ESPN Plus. South Carolina is expecting to make a move to Under Armour from Under Armour to Nike ahead of the 2026-27 academic year. This is now the second school we've seen make a new deal from Under Armour to Nike along with Auburn, and then the third SEC school we've seen make an apparel change with Tennessee moving away from Nike to join Adidas.
Yeah, I mean, it's just overall. You told me the number for it from them jumping from Under Armour to Nike, and you said, take a guess, and I was like, okay, yeah, because Tennessee, what was it, $20 million?
$20 million in total from Adidas.
From Adidas, yeah. And when you told me the number, I was shocked.
So I've done a little more research into that, actually. So they're getting $500,000 cash from Nike every year for 10 years. $7 million a year from apparel sales, so they get that money too. So
that's where
around this, yeah. So that's where the 7.5 number came from.
Because in my opinion, when you told me that, I was like, "What's the point of switching to Nike then?"
Yeah. But I think this is a good move for South Carolina. Obviously, they're actually making a little bit more money than a bunch of schools that are with Nike. So, new contract, bigger money. I think it benefits them well. And obviously making that jump from Under Armour to Nike, because it does seem like Nike and Adidas, while Nike's probably 1A, that Adidas is definitely 1B.
Yeah, when it comes to football.
When it comes to football. So I think it's a good move for both these schools, and it'll even bring a little more money in.
Absolutely.
Sticking with the Gamecocks and the Vols, former 4-star Kamari Blair has flipped his commitment from South Carolina to Tennessee. Blair is the 22nd ranked player at his position, goes to Kirkwood High School up in Clarksville, so a big in-state recruit staying with the Vols. Staying in recruiting, 5-star safety Braylon Womack has committed to Auburn. He is the second-ranked player in his state, first position, and 13th ranked nationally. Womack was the 2024 Gatorade Player of the Year in Mississippi out of Hartfield Academy, and committed to Auburn over Ohio State, Alabama, and Florida. So a big pickup for Auburn. We maybe seeing that Nike money start paving the way for some more big-time recruits. And hopefully they can help Auburn out in the near future. Yesterday on 3 started reporting on some NIL earnings for players across the country, and two of the biggest question marks when it came to quarterback money were in UCLA and Tennessee. For the two quarterbacks that were seemingly traded for each other back in April.
We're talking a lot about those two teams.
Yeah, so according to Pete Nakos, both Joey Aguilar and Nico Iamaleava are going to be paid in the $1.2 million range. A huge pay increase for Aguilar over what he was probably getting at App State, which wouldn't have been too much, and almost a 50% pay cut for Nico.
Yeah, I mean, that's just one of those things economically when you look at, where we are in the United States. Us as Tennessee fans, we're going to be, not as taxed as much when it comes to people in California. Mm-hmm. And it's showing there compared to, basically they've got the same NIL deal. When Nico was here, he was making $2 million, I believe, something like that.
2.4 almost.
$2.4 million a year for a time point of 4 years, and possibly he could have been making more. And compared to Joey, obviously App State, Sunbelt team, you're probably not going to get those endorsements in the NIL. Compared to that, he would have got a whole lot more in UCLA, but due to Nico transferring to UCLA and then Joey Aguilar, entering the portal in Tennessee, jumping on him, basically the first college football trade of all time. It's just evening out. So, like I said, it's just one of those, economic things that you got to understand when it comes to the nation and the world we live in today.
Yeah, I honestly am kind of starting to feel bad for Nico. He's had to leave a team in the SEC to move to a team, a bottom end team in the Big Ten. He's taken a pay cut. The talent around him is not as good. It's almost to the point where I feel bad for the kid. But
I will say he is closer to home, but then again, it's tough.
But hey, for Joey Aguilar, I mean, you're making the jump from the Sun Belt to a bottom tier UCLA Big Ten team to a pretty middle of the ground SEC team in Tennessee, and you're gonna have a lot better players around you, a lot better coaches around you, just and all around just a lot better for you. And I think he's also getting a huge pay increase. Definitely was probably, I don't think he was slated to make in the 7 figures at UCLA, could have been, and then obviously with the state income taxes and stuff like that, definitely gonna be a little bit of a tough break for Nico there.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think Joey. With him being the SEC, he was in a group of 5 last year for App State, and we've seen what he can do when it comes to passing the ball. Turnovers is a big question mark. So, I'm really looking forward to it. I hope he pans out and I hope he has a good year for the Vols this year.
Yeah. All right. Well, coming up next, the SEC has made a big announcement on the changes to conference scheduling, and we'll talk about that coming up next.
Since 1955, Evers Construction has been the company folks have trusted for residential and commercial construction projects. Today, Evers is still the leader in building and is just as committed to maintaining. From residential to commercial and industrial, Evers' team of experts stands ready to install, service, and repair all your HVAC and plumbing needs. Specializing in leak repair, maintenance, air duct cleaning and repair, air handler service, drain cleaning, gas line work, emergency unit repair, inspections, and more. Evers Construction offers a preventative maintenance package to keep your home or business cool in the summer and warm in the winter. Trained, trusted, reliable. For more information or to schedule an appointment with the pros who know, phone 931-762-3593 or visit eversconstructionco.com. Evers Construction Company in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee.
Welcome to the newly remodeled Brass Lantern. For over 30 years, we've been serving delicious food to excellent people. Brass Lantern takes pride in authenticity, serving fresh, homemade food to please any member of the family. From mouth-watering to one-of-a-kind steaks served with gourmet marinade, to salad with our signature honey mustard dressing, specialty fruit tea, drafts, and much more. Our food is always prepared daily. Whether you come in with friends or family, you'll appreciate that fresh is better.
A&M Medical is Lawrence County's newest medical clinic, specializing in urgent and primary care. Practitioners Andrea Bain and Meredith Hutton bring years of experience and compassion to keep you and your family healthy. A&M Medical features a separate well waiting room to meet your needs. Visit today and ask about A&M's weight loss program and telemedicine services. That's A&M Medical, located at 2367 Highway 43 South in Leoma, Tennessee.
From our humble beginnings to today, Parks Lumber Company has continuously served Lawrence and surrounding counties for over a century. Although we started as a small lumber yard in 1896, we have grown to include everything you need to make your dream project come to life. No matter your building needs, our experienced staff will be with you every step of the way to ensure you receive the highest customer service and attention to detail you deserve. Visit us at 106 2nd Street or on Facebook. We guarantee you will see working with PLC is as easy as 1, 2, 3.
Shop McMaster's Home Gallery for furniture, appliances, and more. And shop quality, shop convenience, shop service, shop local. A family-owned business with a long history of serving the region. We're a one-stop home furnishings destination. We feature brands you know, competitively priced, backed by professional installation and service. You can trust that we'll take good care of you before and after the sale. For your home, shop smart. Shop McMaster's Home Gallery today.
For decades, First Class Charter has provided high-quality motor coach transportation services to the Tennessee Valley. With numerous safety and cleanliness accreditations, First Class Charter is ready to make your group trip a reality. Contact us today by visiting firstclasscharter.net. First Class Charter, the official motor coach company of the North Alabama Lions.
Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.
And welcome back to SEC Tailgate. So Hayden, A 9-game conference schedule has been the home to a lot of controversy in the past couple of years, especially during conference media days earlier this summer, with many coaches across the Big Ten calling out the SEC for only playing 8 conference games. So the 9-games conference schedule, and at least in the Power 5 era, actually began back in 2006 when the Pac-10 wanted to have each of their conference teams play each other. Obviously, with there being 10 teams, a 9-game conference schedule would allow you to play everybody. Well, the Big 12 followed suit in 2011, 5 years later, and then 5 years later, again, the Big 10 adopted this into their scheduling philosophy, so giving 3 of the 5 major conferences a 9-game conference schedule. Now, we've seen the Pac-12 kind of evaporate, so to speak, or at least the one that we knew, with the teams joining with the Big 10 and with the Big 12 and even some with the ACC for some reason. So yesterday afternoon, around the time we were doing our show, reports started coming out of serious talks within the SEC moving to a 9-game conference schedule. At 4 p.m. yesterday, the conference released a press release announcing that they will be adopting the 9-game conference schedule starting in 2026 season, and this will come just 2 seasons after adding Texas and Oklahoma to the mix and also doing away with divisions. So what this will entail from the Post, it says they will continue with the non-divisional structure, so something that initially I didn't like, but now that that I've seen how it's played out, I think I'm more of a fan of that. It allows you to play more teams regularly. The biggest change, though, each school will play 3 annual opponents. So what this means for the 9-game conference schedule is that there are 3 teams that you will play every year, and then those other 6 will rotate.
Because I think Tennessee and they've announced that Florida, Alabama, and Vanderbilt.
I don't know if it's confirmed yet, but we will get to that with what we think.
I think those need to be the group, in my opinion.
Definitely. The remaining 6 conference games will rotate with the remaining 12 teams. I assume with what they're going to do is what they're doing with the schedule now is that you'll play, say, 6 teams one year, and then those same 6 teams the next year with flipped locations, and then you rotate in the other 6 teams, and then the same thing the next year with each 4 locations, which means if you stay in college for 4 years, you will get to play every SEC team twice.
Yep. But I think it's one thing that the SEC, kind of fell in line. Obviously, I think, I like the idea, like you said, of getting rid of divisions. Seeing teams you obviously wouldn't have seen in the past when it comes to, Tennessee seeing a Mississippi State every now and then, or, Ole Miss. But, you look at it, and I think it's a good thing for the SEC to do that and just all the Power 4 groups. But, yeah, I like the mindset of obviously, FCS, maybe 2 FCSs and a group of 4 opponent, and then after that your 9-game conference schedule. So that's the mindset I take, and I think that's the best route for it. Because then again, this is going to be implemented next season.
Yes. So those things that I just mentioned were on the Post. If you went to their website and actually scrolled down a little bit, you will also see the SEC is required to schedule at least in what they considered one additional high-quality non-conference opponent from either the ACC, the Big 10, the Big 12, or Notre Dame each season. Something the SEC, I don't think it was required previously, but was strongly advised others to do so. And the previous conference schedule change that happened back in 1992 when the conference grew to 12 teams, adding South Carolina and Arkansas. Now, this brings me into my main point. This is something that isn't required in the Big 12 or even the so mighty Big 10. So this brings me back to the top with those coaches who were calling out the SEC scheduling. Kurt Cignetti. So now that each SEC team is playing at least 10 power conference opponents each year, let's see what Big Bad Indiana's got coming up in the non-con for the next 5 years. 2025, Old Dominion, Kennesaw State, and FCS Indiana State. The next year, 2026, Colorado State, FCS Howard, Western Kentucky. The following year, 2027, Kennesaw State, FCS Indiana State, UMass. The following year, 2028, FCS Austin Peay, Eastern Michigan, and Miami of Ohio, not the Hurricanes. And then in 2029, Ball State, FCS Eastern Illinois, Western Kentucky. So over the next 5 seasons, Indiana is playing 15 non-conference games, which you get in that, 0 against Power 4 opponents, 0 road games, and 5 of them are against FCS opponents. Their next road game in a non-conference is against Notre Dame at Notre Dame in 2030, so that's definitely a bit of a step up, but what we've seen from the College Football Playoff Committee is that this year they're going to value strength of record and strength of schedule more than they value just your record. They're going to look at who you're playing, how you're playing against them. So, Coach Signetti, if you want to, just beat up on Kennesaw State and say that makes you a good team, more power to you. But, now when you have, I think this was a Georgia or an Oklahoma schedule coming up. I think it's for 2030, where Georgia will be playing Ohio State, Clemson, Georgia Tech, and then their 9-game conference schedule, unless something changes, which that's 6 years down the line. It probably will. But that's brutal. I mean, the SEC's trying to schedule tough, and other teams are a little bit scared of that.
Yeah. I mean, they're that year 2 with Colorado State and who's that? What was that? The Colorado State?
Colorado State, Howard, and Western Kentucky.
Okay, Colorado State would probably be the only one that gives them a little maybe hiccup, but
yeah.
Other than that, like I said, in my opinion, your 9 conference games, your 2 FCS and then a Power 4 opponent. And then I think, the Power 4 opponent, in my opinion, should be on the road most of the time.
Yeah.
Between the two.
Yeah. Play some home and homes. Let's get some big matchups at home stadiums that are outside of the conference.
Exactly.
And I hate this for Indiana fans when, say we come around to the playoff this next year and they got 2 losses and they're saying, hey, we're 10-2. Why aren't we in the playoff conversation? Because you played Indiana State and Old Dominion and Kennesaw. That was your non-conference. Yep. You got teams like, I hate to give them credit, but Ohio State is playing Texas. Yeah. Oklahoma and Michigan are playing. I mean, the Big Ten is trying to schedule tough games, but some of the coaches don't want to follow suit.
Say, what if one of those games they lose? I mean, that you're done.
You're done.
You're done. Because if you lose another one, a conference game, if you lose those games,
it's over.
It could be week 1. You can play Ball State and lose. Your season and chances of getting the playoffs are basically less than 1%.
Yeah, and who even knows what Indiana's going to look like by the time they play Ball State in 2029. So the next order of business is those 3 annual opponents. So this is a list from On3 that I've found, and I think this is probably for the best. So looking at, we'll just look at some of the local. Well, we'll go through everybody. So starting off with Alabama. There are 3 opponents every year. They keep the Iron Bowl. They keep the 3rd Saturday in October, and they keep the rivalry with LSU. Yep. I think that's great.
I think that's good.
Perfect.
Yep.
Arkansas, Missouri, who is their last opponent every year, Texas, and Texas A&M. Okay. I'm okay with that one. I would like to see them play LSU every year.
Yeah.
Auburn, they will play Alabama every year, Georgia every year.
Okay.
2 big rivalries, and then Vanderbilt. That one a little confusing because Vanderbilt's typical SEC West rival is Ole Miss, but I think that's fair. Yeah. With Florida, it'll be Georgia and Tennessee, obviously. Oklahoma. Bit of a strange one, but
it's out there.
I think it could be a fun rivalry. With Georgia, they keep Auburn, Florida, and Kentucky.
Okay.
I think those are probably their 3 biggest so-what rivalry games. Kentucky, Georgia, Mississippi State, South Carolina. I think that's fine. That keeps,
you said Kentucky was who?
Georgia, Mississippi State, who is their SEC. Who is their typical SEC West rival, and then South Carolina.
Okay, I like that.
With LSU, it is Alabama, Ole Miss, who has been a very good rivalry game the past couple of years, and then another one that's been interesting in past, Texas A&M. Now, I would prefer Arkansas being in there, but obviously you got to give Texas A&M some teams to play, so I'm okay with that. For Mississippi State, keep the Iron Bowl, Vanderbilt, and Kentucky.
That's a cupcake for them. If they got a good team.
I would say if they can be better than Ole Miss, I mean they're winning all 3 of those games. For Missouri, they get Arkansas, South Carolina, and Oklahoma.
That's not bad.
I would say for Missouri and Texas A&M, it's kind of weird.
It's more regional for them.
Because like with Texas and Oklahoma, we can sort of make matchups with them with like Arkansas and teams that used to, and LSU teams that are in that area. But I don't know, it just feels weird with Texas A&M and Missouri. On to Oklahoma, Missouri, obviously, Florida, and then Texas. Got to keep the Red River Shootout. Ole Miss, you got Mississippi State, LSU, and South Carolina. I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah.
For South Carolina, you got Missouri, which is a bit of an interesting one, but they've played some good games over the past couple of years. Ole Miss and Kentucky.
Yeah. They beat Missouri, too, last year. Yeah.
On to Tennessee, I think this is probably the one that would fit us the best. Alabama, Florida, and Vanderbilt.
Yep,
I know some fans aren't for the every year Florida game because I don't think that was an annual rivalry until recently. They may have played every year. They probably did.
I like
but they want Kentucky. because that is it's a more dated rivalry, and it would give Kentucky an opponent that made a little more sense than maybe like a Georgia or a South Carolina.
I would be okay with flipping Florida and Kentucky, but as long as you keep Vanderbilt and Alabama.
You got to keep Vandy and Alabama.
Yeah,
you got to. For Texas, you keep the rivalry with Texas A&M. You keep the rivalry with Arkansas, and you keep the rivalry with Oklahoma. I think that's excellent.
That's perfect. Yeah.
For Texas A&M, another one that I think is perfect. You keep that LSU rivalry that had that 73-70 game or whatever it was. Arkansas, another rival, the Southwest Classic, and then with Texas, the Lone Star Shootout, and then also Vanderbilt, Auburn, Tennessee, and Mississippi State.
I don't really have a problem with it. There's some of them that are kind of just not. I wouldn't say questionable, but it's just kind of weird.
It doesn't seem like a traditional rivalry, but obviously, if you're playing them every year, it definitely will become
there
one.
There might be a few things I might switch, but then again.
But it's gonna feel weird for Tennessee to not be playing like a Georgia every year, because that's a team we've played every year for as long as I can remember. Yep. Kentucky, again, being one that we don't play every year, that would feel weird. Those are games I look forward to, even though those both series have been lopsided one way or the other for Tennessee. It's games you look forward to. Yeah. So I get with how the other six game rotation will be, for say I'm going in as a freshman and I stay all 4 years, I'm gonna play a home and an away game versus every team in the SEC. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, I love that idea.
I don't like back when it was a just become a 14 team conference. You played 2 SEC West teams a year, and then you played the rest of the East.
Yeah.
So you would play an SEC West team once every 6 years, and once every 12 years to play them both home and away. I like it. You get it every 4 years now, so you're not going to go forever.
See a different face.
Yeah, you get to see Tennessee play at Ole Miss. You get to see Auburn come to Knoxville. I mean, it'll be some fun matchups. Yeah. All right, so coming up next, we're going to continue our schedule prediction series as we got South Carolina and Ole Miss coming up next.
Hey everyone, this is Landon Saunders.
And this is Nate Patterson with Cloud9 Fiber.
We're excited to finally be able to offer Lawrenceburg our blazing fast, reliable, and affordable fiber internet services.
If you're looking for a more reliable and more affordable provider, we at Cloud9 Fiber have you covered.
Plans start at $50 a month, and we can offer up to a gigabit to your home or business.
We are excited to be able to offer your first month of service entirely free. We encourage you to sign up on cloud9fiber.com or by calling 931-201-9098 so we can help you make the switch today.
Jack Davis Insurance, located at 201 West Gain Street in Lawrenceburg, has you covered through life's obstacles. Jack Davis specializes in group insurance for businesses and institutions of all sizes, with coverage for life, accidents, cancer, critical illness, short-term disability, dental, and vision. Jack Davis can customize a plan to meet every need. Now available Medicare plans for seniors. Contact Paige Davis at 931-492-9284 today for Medicare Supplement, Medicare Advantage, and prescription drug plan insurance. Serving Lawrence and surrounding counties since 1987, call the team at Jack Davis Insurance today at 931-242-5225.
LUS is committed to our customers, from providing and maintaining energy-efficient utility services to friendly, helpful customer service. LUS is there. At LUS, we're always challenging everything we know, every day. We strive to improve efficiency and reliability while focusing on our responsibility to our customers and the community. It's our promise to provide dependable service to our customers every time. Because we don't just work in Lawrence County, we live here too.
A Moment in Real Estate with my dad, Jeff Hood.
I get asked a lot about what the market's going to do. How's the real estate market? I've been selling real estate for a long time, and nobody has a crystal ball. And you know what? When it's your time to buy or your time to sell, it really doesn't matter what the market's doing. It's your time, and you have to do something maybe. What makes a difference is the agents and the experience that go to work for you. We're Keller Williams Hood Company, located here in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee. We can help.
Hood Company, powered by Keller Williams, the #1 name in real estate.
Being raised in Tennessee, we believe in the importance of family and community. Creating a positive experience at our family-owned and operated business is one of the ways we share that belief.
Being in an accident can be extremely stressful. When it came time for my repairs, Mashburn's made it easy.
I am lucky to have a wonderful company in my community like Mashburn's Collision Center. It's reassuring to know that I'm in good hands because their work is second to none.
We pride ourselves that the Mashburn name is one of the most trusted in Lawrence County since 1981. Mashburn's Collision Center. Let our family take care of yours.
Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.
All right, Hayden, welcome back here to the SEC Tailgate here on the X Sports Network. And we got some schedules coming up. We've got 2 more teams to run through today. We got South Carolina, Ole Miss, 2 teams that were coming off good years last year. Ole Miss and South Carolina, the first 2 teams, or the second and third teams left out of the playoff. Alabama was the first. So teams that have very high aspirations coming in to the season. We'll start with the Gamecocks. Week 1, they got a game Sunday afternoon against Virginia Tech, 2 o'clock. Virginia Tech, a 6-7 team last year. Think we could probably agree with this one being at South Carolina.
Yeah.
This is probably a win for the Gamecocks.
Yeah, I think so. With South Carolina there, I think that's a safe pick there for sure.
Yeah. Week number 2, they got a Saturday afternoon game at 6 o'clock against South Carolina State, an FCS opponent. I think we can chalk that one up as well.
2-0.
2-0, and then this actually might be a pretty big game heading into week 3. They host Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt. South Carolina was one of the very few defenses that actually stopped Diego Pavia last year. They beat them 28-7 in Nashville. With this one coming back to South Carolina, I think the Gamecocks got this one.
I think they do too. I think it'll be a whole lot closer game, but I still think South Carolina will win this one.
All right, week 4, a big one at Missouri, a game that they lost last year, or a game that they actually. Yeah, they won last year.
That game, yeah.
Won that game last year, 34-30 at Missouri, or at home versus Missouri. It was a very good game. It was one of those that came down to the last minute, a bunch of scoring there late. But with this one being at Missouri, it's going to be tough. But I just don't think Missouri's going to have enough to stop South Carolina. I got them a win here as well.
I don't think Missouri will have enough firepower against South Carolina. So I've got them going 4-0 to start the season here.
And go ahead and mark that 5-0 as the next week they head to they head back home to face Kentucky, a team that they dominated last year 31-6, and a team that they will probably dominate once again this year.
Absolutely.
All right, so the next week, the first week of October, it will be a bye week, and now I think it was for Oklahoma. We were looking through their schedule, Hayden, and they had a pretty good start, but a brutal stretch.
Yes.
Down there later in the season, and it might be another one here. Mm-hmm. So looking out of the bye week, first at LSU, a game that they lost by 3 last year, but with LSU or with South Carolina being 5-0 at this point, this is going to be a night game, and it's at LSU.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see them winning at LSU at night.
At LSU, yeah, I'm with you. That's their first loss for me.
The next week, they come back home to South Carolina to face Oklahoma, a team that they dominated last year 35-9. I think they get them again this year. Now, on our schedule that we did a couple weeks ago, I had Oklahoma winning this game. So I'm going to go back and redact that. I've done it on my doc already, so we got it saved up.
But I think I had Oklahoma losing this one as well. So I think South Carolina, because I remember I think I had Oklahoma losing like their stretch games.
Yeah. So this brings South Carolina 6-1 heading to Tuscaloosa. Or heading back home versus Alabama. A very big game, but a game that I don't think they got that one.
I don't think so either.
I think last
Alabama's
year
gonna be too much for them.
Yep. And now the other team that we got, Ole Miss. Is that Ole Miss? And Ole Miss was one of the teams that actually dominated South Carolina last year. The only game that they truly got beat because Ole Miss was just way too big up front for them. The Rebels won that one 27-3 at South Carolina. This one going back to the SIP. I think I got LSU, or I think I got Ole Miss in this one.
I think I do. Ole Miss, with it being in Oxford.
They proved to me last year that they can have a home field advantage with what they've done, with what that game they had against Georgia last year.
It's going to be loud, and I think South Carolina's going to struggle.
All right,
especially after a loss to Alabama.
Yep, the next week they have a bye week, so they get a little time to rest. Week 10 at Texas A&M. Now, typically, I would say A&M's got this one in the bag because it's tough to play there. But late in the season, A&M always starts off so hot, and then they fall apart late in the season. I got South Carolina winning this one.
I'm going to go with Texas A&M.
Ooh.
I think with it being there, South Carolina's just going to go on like a bitter stretch where they lose to Alabama and Ole Miss. Then they got to go to Texas A&M, a hard place to play at. So
I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt coming out of the bye week.
I've got the Aggies here.
All right, the next week, a pretty formidable opponent. They got Coastal Carolina heading in from Myrtle Beach, but I got South Carolina. They're an SEC team, and
They'll
now
get back in the win column for me here.
A very interesting Week 12. No, it's the Saturday after Thanksgiving. They host Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
It's a morning game, a game that they won on the road last year. I'm going to give them a loss here.
Yeah, I think Clemson's going to be too much for them.
I think Clemson is going to be a really dangerous team this year, and if they can stay healthy down to the end of the year, I think it's going to be another great game, and I think Cade Klubnik will finally beat South Carolina his last year.
I think Clemson defensively is going to win this game, in my opinion.
His last year. So a quick glance through the schedule. I gave them a best case scenario of 10-2. I think the only teams that they just can't beat on this schedule are I think the Alabama and Ole Miss both have them outmatched, but I think that they could beat LSU. They could beat Texas A&M. But I think both of our records. I think you have them at 7-5. I have them at 8-4.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be a bit of a down year considered what they did last year. But I think it'll still be a year that South Carolina is pretty happy for, because I still do think that despite not being the best teams in the SEC, I think they have the best offensive player in the conference with Lenore Sellers, and I think they had the best defensive player in the conference with Dylan Stewart on the defensive line. Yeah. All right, we'll head to Oxford now. Ole Miss open it up on Saturday, August 30th with a home game, a night game actually, against Georgia State. We saw Georgia State take down Vanderbilt last year. Don't think we'll see them beat an SEC team this year.
No, especially not Ole Miss. Give me Ole Miss in that one.
Week 2, a revenge game for Ole Miss at Kentucky. Kentucky came down there last year, early in the season, and upset I think they were number 6 in the country at the time, Ole Miss team, and just shocked everyone. Beat them 20-17. I think heading back up to the Kroger Field, I think Ole Miss got this one circled. It might be a bit of a bloodbath
they're going to have their starters in for quite a while.
For the Big Blue Nation. So 2-0 heading into Week 3. They got a home game against Arkansas, a team they put 63 points on last year and beat them by 32 on the road. I think that's going to be a similar trend that we see continue at home.
I think so. Starting off 3-0.
Now an interesting one. Now Tulane. They host Tulane, a team that went 9-5 last year, a team that was in the American Conference Championship game, a team that made a bowl game, a very formidable opponent. I think Ole Miss has got this one, though.
I think so, too, yeah. It'll be a little test for them. I think it'll be close, but then I think Ole Miss will pull away there at the end.
All right, now a very interesting game that was a very interesting game last year. LSU, Ole Miss this year. LSU took them down 29-26 in overtime in the Swamp last year. It's coming back to Ole Miss this year, and on our LSU schedule, we had Ole Miss winning this one. So give me the Rebels and another team, Hayden, that we have 5-0 heading into the bye week.
Yeah, I think it's it's a good start here for Ole Miss, and especially going into the bye week, you're undefeated. So I think I like where Ole Miss is here.
Yeah, and not a very hard game coming out of the bye week. They host Washington State. Washington State having to travel from 2 time zones early over. For a game that's an 11:45 a.m. local kick time, that's 9:45 in Washington time. For what time it would be in Pullman. Give me Ole Miss.
Yeah, I think you got to give me Ole Miss in this one too.
All right, so that brings us to the Georgia game. They're heading to Georgia. They're going to be hyped up, obviously 6-0. But man, that's going to be a rough game for them, and I think Georgia. It's at Athens. It'll be a night game. I think Georgia's got that one.
Yep, and I know they beat Georgia last year, so Georgia's going to have that game circled. That crowd's going to be loud. So give me the Dogs in that one.
All right, so another big road game coming up the following week at Oklahoma. I do think that Ole Miss will have a better team than Oklahoma, but I think they're going to be too beat up from that trip to Georgia. I think they're going to slip and fall and drop this one to Oklahoma.
Yep, I'm with you on that one.
All right, so now the next week, they host South Carolina, a team that they dominated last year, and what we said on the schedule up there, we just think that Ole Miss is a little bit too much for South Carolina. They get back in the win column and get a bit of a break as they go back home and face the Citadel, it's an FCS team. They're not typically a problem, so
they'll win that.
Chalk that one up. And now a very interesting one, because it's November 15th and they haven't had their second bye week yet. They are going to be beat up. They're going to be tired. but I got them beating Florida.
Yeah.
We have Florida losing to them on our schedule, and then obviously bye week, last game Mississippi State. That's a win. 10-2.
10-2.
10-2.
Yeah, back-to-back losses between Georgia and Oklahoma. So I think 10-2 is respectable. I think it'll put them in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think it would for sure put them in the playoff because obviously they have 4 straight wins to close the season.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those losses come at the middle point of the season. I think it lines up very well for an Ole Miss team to make the playoff for the first time. It'd be a huge win for Lane Kiffin. So after this week, we got South Carolina going at 8-4. We got Ole Miss going 10-2. And we got we don't have that many schedules left, Hayden. So next week, Monday, we will have Texas A&M and Tennessee, and then we'll have Texas and Vanderbilt. And then next Friday, man, we're gonna have the final rankings out. We're gonna have our college football week 1 preview. We got a bunch of stuff coming up, so it'll be a very exciting next week here on the X Sports Network. So for Michael Marks and Hayden Burks, this has been the SEC Tailgate. Have a good weekend, everybody.
Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.